Hey crypto friends, for those of you who are new to the channel, my name is Garrett and welcome to Altcoin Radar. Today we are going to talk about, and I am going to show you some secret charting patterns that other YouTubers simply most likely will not ever tell you about. Now, for those of you who do love trading crypto and would like to try out the same crypto exchange that I use on a daily basis, feel free to go ahead and try out the Blowfin exchange right here with the link in the video description down below this video. I personally love this exchange because they allow anybody from anywhere to be able to sign up and trade crypto futures. So if you are from the United States like I am and you want to trade crypto futures, you can do it right here on the Blowfin exchange. All right, guys, so we are going to be talking about candlestick patterns today. So these secret charting patterns, the reason why I call them a secret is simply because most other YouTubers and most other people who make content on trading education and stuff like that, they fail to mention anything about candlestick patterns. Why? I have no idea. It doesn't make sense to me because they are extremely, extremely useful, but they simply forget to mention them. So I'm going to be mentioning them today. And realistically, there's like 30 different candlestick patterns and even more that you can look for. But I am only going to be sharing 7 of the easiest ones that you can spot and save the rest of them for a different video in the near future. So let's go ahead and take a look at the chart. I've already found examples of all of these chart of all of these candlestick patterns in the I just picked a random chart and found them all within a specific time frame, and I'm going to go ahead and show you them here. So the very first one that I want to go ahead and talk about here is going to be the bullish hammer candle. All right, this the bullish hammer stick candle or the bullish hammer candlestick typically signals a potential reversal at the bottom of a downtrend near support zones, and as far as what it looks like, it typically has a very small body at the top of the candle with a long wick at the bottom, which typically tells you that buyers are gaining momentum. And the best way to trade this candlestick is by waiting for confirmation, which typically would be waiting for the next candle to close higher than the bullish hammer candle itself. So if you take a look at this on the chart right here, you can clearly see we have got this body right at the top up here, and there's barely a small wick at the top. There's one there, but it's very, very small. And then it's got a long wick at the bottom. All right. This would technically be considered a bullish hammer candle because, yes, the next candle did open and end up closing way, way higher than it. And the overall trend ended up going way, way up after it. All right. And realistically, though, this specific bullish hammer candle right here, it could be looked at as a bearish hanging man candle, but it formed at the bottom of a trend when sellers were losing momentum. So that's why it is considered a bullish hammer candle here in this specific sense. All right. So the next one the next candlestick pattern that I've got for you guys is going to be the bullish inverted hammer candle. All right. So let's go ahead and take a look at this here. This would be right here. All right. It also signals a potential reversal at the bottom of a downtrend as well, which you guys can clearly see we had a little downtrend right here. Okay. It looks a little different from the traditional bullish hammer candle like we saw here. But the inverted bullish, I'm so bad with my words right now. The inverted bullish hammer candle has a small body at the bottom of the wick, which you can clearly see right here. You can see the body down here at the bottom of the wick. And it typically has a long upper wick, which you can clearly see right here as well, which typically means that bears are losing control here. And just like the bullish hammer candle, this candlestick can be traded also by waiting for the next candle to close. And if it closes higher than the inverted hammer candle, then you're probably good to go, which, as you guys can clearly see, the next candle ended up opening and it closed higher than the bullish inverted hammer candle, which you can see right here. All right. So this is another example of another type of bullish candlestick that you can look for to integrate into your overall charting strategy, okay? Now, the next candle or the next candlestick pattern that I've got for you guys is going to be the Dragonfly Doji pattern candle, which typically signals indecision. Let me go to it. This is the Dragonfly Doji, okay? Now, it typically signals indecision and a potential bullish reversal, and can also be found near the bottom of a downtrend near support zones, which you can clearly see we had a little downtrend right here, and it formed right in here, all right? Now, this one is easy to spot because it's basically got a small body at the top, which is smaller than the bullish hammer candle, and it has a long wick at the bottom as well, which you can clearly see. We've got our small body here, and then we've got our long ass wick at the bottom here, all right? And just like the last couple of patterns that I was showing you, this one can also be traded by waiting for the next candle to close. And if it closes higher than the doji candle or not, then you're probably good to go, which, as you guys can clearly see, the next candle ended up opening and it closed higher than the doji candle closed. So you would have gotten in somewhere within this candle somewhere, and you would have ended up being able to ride it to the top of the next couple candles here, and you would have made some decent percentage points there. So like, let's say for instance, you ended up getting in right in here, right when it ended up closing, you would have made, if you ended up riding it all the way to the top and selling real quickly, and you were using like 10x leverage or something like that, you would have made roughly around 60% right there. So that's pretty decent profits for trading based off of candlestick patterns alone right there. So let's move on to the next candlestick pattern, which is going to be the spinning top candle, or the bullish spinning top candle, which also shows indecision in the market, just like the Dragonfly Doji. All right, let me go back to the bullish spinning top. But it typically suggests a potential trend reversal, and it has a small body with equal or somewhat equal length wicks on both the top and the bottom of the candle, which you can clearly see right here. We've got our body in the center, and then we've got a wick on the top and a wick at the bottom, and they're about, they're somewhat about equal length right there, as you guys can clearly see. All right. And once again, to trade this candle, once again, you will want to wait for confirmation by making sure that the next candle closes above the spinning top candle, which you can clearly see right here. It clearly did right in here. So if you were to have ended up getting into this one and you opened it on this next candle here, you would have, if you were to end up riding it for the next couple hours right there, you would have made about 30% profits with 10x leverage right there. Or if you kept holding it even longer, you could have made roughly around 50%, or even longer. You would have made around 90%, or even longer, all the way up to the top of this whole trend right here. You would have probably made a shit ton more profit than that even. So all right, guys, so now we will go ahead and move on to the bearish candlestick patterns. For those of you who are like me and are comfortable with trading in both directions. So the first bearish candlestick pattern that I want to show you here is going to be one of my personal favorites, which is the hanging man candle, which typically signifies a potential reversal to the downside, and it has a small body at the top of the candle, or a big body at the top of the candle, with a long wick at the bottom, which, as you guys can clearly see, we have got the entire candle, in this case, it's a big bodied candle with a long wick at the end. And there is no wick at the top whatsoever. And that pretty much signals a hanging man candle right there in that sense alone. All right. But it basically tells us that buyers are losing momentum, and it can be found at the top of an uptrend on whatever time frame you're currently trading in. In this case, we were in a downtrend. We came down a little bit, but then we started going back up a little bit. So this is kind of the little bit of an uptrend that I'm talking about here. It was found at the top of this little bit of an uptrend that we had when we were trying to go back up and break through resistances there. Okay, so as far as that is concerned, when you are trading it, it can be traded by waiting for the next candle to close, and whether or not it ends up closing lower than the hanging man candle itself or not. So obviously, as you guys can clearly see right here, we had the hanging man candle, then the next candle opened, and it ended up closing below the hanging man candle. So even if you got in right down here at the bottom and you didn't get in during the candle itself, let's say you were to get in right here and you ended up riding it down to the bottom of the trend down here, you would have made roughly around 70 to 75% roughly in overall profits with 10x leverage or something like that. So that's still pretty damn good profit right there for a decent trade. All right, so the next one that I wanted to talk about here is going to be, it's actually my personal overall favorite. It's even more of a favorite over the Hanging Man candle, but this one is called the Shooting Star candle, okay? So this one is called the Shooting Star candle, and it basically has a small body at the bottom of the candle with a long upper wick, and there's typically no wick at the bottom of it either, all right? But it basically signals that buyers are losing momentum, and this candle can be found at the top of an uptrend, which you can see it is here as well. It can be found at the top of an uptrend, and just like the last candle, it can be traded by waiting for the next candle to close for confirmation. So wait until the next candle closes lower than the Shooting Star candle, which, as you guys can clearly see right here, this one did exactly that. It ended up closing down and ended up going down even further. So if you were to have traded this one, you would have made, let's go ahead here. If you were to get in right here after confirmation, you would have made roughly around a solid, probably, 30 to 35%, somewhere around there, give or take, just being conservative there with 10x leverage. Now, the other thing I want to talk about here as well is I put a note here with it too. This candle, since it is green and not white or red on your chart, since it is green, it could be falsely looked at as an inverted hammer candle, a bullish inverted hammer candle instead, since they pretty much look the same. If you take a look at it right here, you can see it. There's that one, the Shooting Star, and then the inverted Hanging Man candle. They kind of look a little bit similar, okay? But the only difference here is it was created near the top of the trend when buying momentum was dropping. As you guys can clearly see, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8 green candles in a row without a single bearish candle. So that right there, just the fact that we had 8 in a row right there, that pretty much tells you right there that momentum could be weakening right there. So therefore, this I would consider a Shooting Star candle rather than an inverted bullish hammer candle right there, okay? So the last bearish candlestick pattern that I want to share with you guys here before I go ahead and wrap up this video is going to be the bearish spinning top candle. And just like the bullish spinning top candle, this one also has a regular body with somewhat equal length wicks on both the top and the bottom as well. But the difference here is this spinning top candle is typically found at the top of a bullish trend, and just like the other candle patterns, this one also requires you to wait for the next candle to close before the spinning top or below the spinning top to be confirmed of a move to the downside, which, as you guys can clearly see here, we have the bearish spinning top. We kind of had a decent uptrend from down here to up here. We've got our bearish spinning top candle right here. We actually had one right here as well, but we've got our bearish spinning top candle right here, and as you guys can clearly see, the next candle ended up opening and closed below it. And if you were to have gotten in right here, you would have made roughly around probably around 25 to 28% with 10x leverage right there. So realistically, you can make some decent money just trading solely off of candlestick patterns alone here, okay? As you guys can clearly see, I just showed you all of this without any indicators on my chart whatsoever, and showed you the different ways that you can look at these different types of candles, and I also showed you, how much profit you can make from paying attention to these different types of candlestick patterns as well. So I'm not saying that this is a set in stone strategy that you can go ahead and use and become instantly rich with it or anything like that. What I'm saying here is paying attention to candlestick patterns in addition to your already existing trading strategy can really help you to be able to make very good entry and exit decisions into your trades that you already currently look at. So that's kind of what I wanted to get across here in this video. But overall here, guys, I'm all about education. Most of you guys know that, and helping people learn the valuable lifelong skill of trading. So that this is basically so that they don't need to have their hand held the rest of their lives and can trade independently. And knowing these types of candlestick patterns can really help you immensely while you're charting and looking for potential long and short setups to get into. So I hope that I was able to help some of you in this video. But overall here, guys, that's going to pretty much do it for this video. So I will go ahead and wrap this one up. But if you guys enjoyed this one, please make sure to go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Hit the like button below the video to help me out, and leave me a comment below on your personal thoughts on what you think of these candlestick patterns. And with that said, for those of you guys who stuck around and watched this entire video throughout the whole thing, thank you guys very much for watching. I appreciate all of you, especially because my channel is extremely underrated. But I hope to see all of you in my future videos, and we'll talk later.